so much for tuning in again. Another week here with us. You can tell, only a matter of time. I know been an exciting week. Actually, it's been an exciting month so far. We just released a new logo a couple days ago. This is pretty dope. Just wanted to just take this time really quickly before we dive into this really intense subject. I just want to thank you guys so much, for the continued support. Like, you really don't know how grateful we are for you guys continue to watch these videos, support us in any way. So just thank you so much. And this week's subject, it's intense and it's a little hard. I know when we were doing this, I know it did take a little bit emotional toll on us, to a certain extent, just because of subject matter. We actually wanted to dedicate this episode to child sex trafficking and sex trafficking, sex rings and stuff like that happening. We wanted to particularly put a focus on Jefferey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and what they did. So we're going to go into that and kind of delve into and flesh a lot of the stuff out that happened. But it's a lot. You want to say anything?
It's a really dark, intense subject, but it's something, especially now, we're starting to see a lot of people bring it up. Because they're seeing a lot of it, mainstream media is not really covering it as much as it should be. Because we're distracted with everything else that's going on, obviously. So, yes, we felt it was really important to bring up this part, as well as bring up Jeffrey Epstein, because he's been obviously a hot subject for a minute now. It went away and then came back, and now it's really back, and it ties together exactly what we were saying. So,
and I think that why it reemerged again is, I think a lot of it has to do because of the Netflix documentary that was just released earlier, I think in May or earlier this year. I think that had a lot to do with it.
And that even just
grazed.
The surface.
It grazed the surface.
It was mainly most of his victims, for sure. They talked, but then it's just he's so entangled in so many things that it's too much. I think it's like a lot to just put in a series. Like, he needs a freaking trilogy. I don't know, just to brace yourself, because it's a little intense.
So we first wanted to start off with giving you guys some statistics, some hard cold statistics and facts. I actually got this. I actually was listening to Lewis Howes' podcast, School of Greatness. He was interviewing Tim Ballard. If you guys ever get the chance to listen to that episode, he used to be a former undercover operative for the CIA. He specialized in child trafficking. So this whole interview, he's interviewing him, and he's providing statistics on child trafficking and all the numbers behind it. And when I listened to it, it took me aback. I was like, whoa. But anyway, if you guys ever get a chance, shoot over there to his podcast and listen to that podcast. It's a very, very powerful podcast.
I'm already getting goosebumps because I already know what's coming. Because when we were going over our conversation about going over what we were going to talk today, and he brought up the statistics, because we just go over our talks like that, and I was just stuck. I was just stuck. So just prepare yourself, because I'm preparing myself. It's a lot.
So like I said, Tim Ballard is an undercover. He was a former undercover operative, CIA and Department of Homeland Security, and he currently is the CEO of a unprofit underground railroad organization. That's what it's called, which was inspired by Harriet Tubman, as he said. And like I said, it's an organization that fights to dismantle child trafficking rings and rescue kids all over the world. So now we're going to get into the darker aspect of it, the numbers. So child trafficking, I'm going to say this, I'm going to repeat it, this one, is the fastest growing enterprise in the world. I'm going to say that again. It is the fastest growing enterprise in the world. It's trailing right behind drug. So now the next part is gonna be a comparison. So I'm gonna give you this comparison. So you can sell a bag of cocaine one time. However, when it comes to child trafficking, you can sell a kid up to 10 or 20 times within a 24-hour time period. So I'm just let that sink in and really think that through. One child can be sold up to 10 to 20 times in a 24-hour time period. To me, that's fucking crazy. You can sell drug, you can do that process once, but this transaction you can do all over again. It's very lucrative, which is why I feel like it's growing at such a fast rate. And it's modern day slavery. It's today's modern day slavery. So slavery has not been erased whatsoever. It still exists. It's just transformed and it's in different forms now. So now here comes even a more shocking number. Now it's estimated that 30 million slaves are in the world. 30 million slaves in the world today. 10 million of them are children. So repeat that again. There's estimated to be 30 million slaves in the world today. 10 million of them are children. Estimated 2 million children are forced into commercial sex trade. The rest are slave labor or for organ harvesting. But those that are used for slave labor eventually cross over into the sex trade at one point in that process. And here's another shocking number that kind of made me rethink everything. So, you want to know who's the number one consumer? And the number one demand is the United States. Is the number one consumer of child exploitation. And I wasn't expecting to hear that. So when I heard that, I was like, it took me some time to process. I'm like, wow.
It's in our country.
Yeah, it's on our, it's right here. It's not in our backyard. It's right here in our country, in our homeland, right here.
And we're in Orange County, and from what I understand, it's popping here.
It is. It is. So. It's popping all exactly. Actually, so I think you sent me something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you sent me. It is popping here. And another statistics I want to provide is U.S. is in the top 3 destinations of countries for trafficking. All right, here's going to be the last one. Is in the United States, it's mostly online on the dark web. So it can start on social media, and from social media it leads to private phone calls, and then leads to transactions, or so on and so forth. So I just wanted to provide that part, just so it gives context and it kind of puts you in that frame and you kind of in that world and see what these kids are really going through. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a hard truth and a hard pill to swallow when you hear this stuff, like saying like, dang, like U.S. is the number one consumer. And I do want to take this time very quickly before we get into Jeffrey Epstein is this whole quarantine right now. Like, if you have kids, they're at home right now. They're using the internet, Instagram, they're using social media. So just be very aware and vigilant of what they're looking at, who they're talking to, because right now there's pedophiles right now. Like, dude, this is like their hunting grounds.
There's I guess also, yes, they're on the internet. Also, they're in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, exactly.
I do want to share like something happening with my family, with my sister, my niece and nephew, and we live in a common neighborhood in Orange County. And of course, there's kids now that, we're in 14, there's kids outside playing all the time. So, but for us, like, the kids don't play outside unless we're watching them. So that's just like a really common thing. They're, one's 10, another one just turned 8. And so, anyway, so we, just another day to go outside and play. There's like a long, like, street, like to the main street where we stay. And so, my sister was calling to they were at the street, and there was like those those vans that you see, those white vans, right?
Yeah.
That we see on social media. I've seen them. They're always involved in some kind of like kidnapping, or that you'll see them, and you're just like, oh, that's crazy, and we're getting notices that they're in Orange County, and so we're like, okay, but you never think like anything. I mean, like it's like right there, but we're like, it's not gonna happen to us.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Right? Because we're how we are with our kids. I mean, we're not overbearing, but we're like we on P's and Q's, like we're really observant, and so thankfully that my sister was observant because this one time, yes, she saw this really weird white van that we're just kind of like, what's going on, and she happened to see the two guys in the van, and they pull and they see my nephew, but my nephew's back is facing the main street.
Yeah.
And so they happened to pull into the house across the street, and she was kind of like, okay, that's weird. And then the two guys came out because everyone's wearing face masks.
Yeah.
Comes out and they're walking towards my nephew, and all my sister was like yelling at him, come to me, like get here. And so that startled them, and then my nephew's like, oh, like, and she's like, my sister's like, get over here. And so then he's running, and then she goes out to the street because then they hop in the van and they happen to they take off, like skirt off. So then that was like, what was that about? Like if there wasn't anything, why did you guys rush back into the van and then skirt off like that? So she's out there, she's kind of like processing. So she's like, what the hell? So they happen, I guess, so she's out there. They went around because obviously there's another street. They went around, and so she's just kind of like, I guess the neighbors are out there. So she's like, did you guys see that? And they're just like, what's going on? The van literally came right back around the block and pushed by and flipped her off.
Yeah.
And she was like, like so dumbfounded. And so, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So that shook us. Like, wait, what? Like, like we see it all the time on social media. We see it, and it's just wild,
It's wild.
So just be careful with your kids, and I can't imagine. Like,
exactly.
So, just keep that in mind. Let's just keep going, cause but just to be careful. But it's for real, So, even with that whole what's the case, the gate, with the online.
Wayfair Gate.
Wayfair Gate, like there's certain things on there you're just like, why is it? So I mean, like, look into that kind of stuff because it also ties into
this that we're talking about. It ties into everything. Like all this we were talking to the last episode we did, or the episode before that,
Pizza Gate.
All this is connected.
Yes. People are calling it a conspiracy theory, which is like, okay, but then there's, again, we're enthusiasts. I always say that because yes, we do understand that there's some theories that are like literally out there, but it's really, there's truth in there, but you have to go in there and you have to listen to who's legit, who has credibility, and you really have to do the research, which is crazy that you have to do that, but that's just how good it is, how good they are at hiding it. And so, with that being said, like, just make sure you guys do your research. I know we're about to get into Homeboy here and Homegirl, Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, we're about to rip some asses on this video.
Yeah,
we're about to go in. So
just prepare yourself. It's a rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah.
We got what we wanted to tell, but there's so much more to the story, to him and Maxwell, that you have to go in there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not ever going to even fit in the 1 hour or 2 hour or 3 hour kind of a thing, but we just want to just kind of pinpoint, like, we want to go through how they grew up, how their upbringing is, only because we want to tell you, like, see, like, these people, where they came from, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then also to how they came about, because the people are like, how the hell did they get their money, or how did they get this power? And then just kind of touch on their downfall.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so, we may not get everything. We're not going to get everything. I can tell you that. But we're going to just go through it and just kind of stick with us. We're going to say, like, names and bring up people and connections. So just bear with us.
Bear with us. So, without further ado, any let's get right into it. We're about to rip some asses right now. About to get into shit. We're about to, just uncover the truth and really delve into it. So we're gonna kick it off with giving you some background on Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
And you wanna go ahead and lead it off?
So homeboy, you would think him coming, like how he ended his life, you would think he came for money, and he didn't. He actually was born back in 1953 in NYC in Brooklyn. He's a Brooklyn kid. He's from Jewish parents.
Yeah.
Jewish. Middle class, right? So his mother and this was interesting. His mother was a school aide, and she was a homemaker.
Yeah.
Basically, when you hear homemaker, it's basically a stay-home mom.
Yeah.
And then his dad was actually he worked for the NYC Parks and Recs as a gardener keeper.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he's a gardener. Same thing. They grew up in a working class neighborhood in the place called Seagate, Coney Island, basically Brooklyn. And he attended like public school, like you know what I'm saying? And the interesting fact about him is he actually skipped 2 grades, so he actually graduated at 16.
Oh dang!
So there was that. I didn't know that until I was going into this, and so so he did go to a college. He went to college, originally a college called Cooper Union, before he actually ended up at NYU studying mathematics and science. So the interesting thing about that is, and this is 1974. So he actually ended up leaving the NYU before he even got to get a degree. And I want to pay attention to time because in 1974 that's when he left. And then it goes into, he ends up somehow getting into his next career, so actually the start of his career, because it's interesting how he went from a student at a university, and then all of a sudden now we're going to get into his resume. He's a teacher at like a prestigious school. So I don't know if you want to kind of like
so he basically started working as a physics and mathematics teacher for teens at the Dalton School, which is located in the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
In 1974. So he literally didn't get to his degree. Yeah. And then somehow, where do you get that? Like, how do you how'd you do that, right?
So basically, and then from there, Donald Barr was the headmaster there until 1974. He may have played a part in hiring, but it is unclear if he directly hired Epstein.
Yeah. So about that is, Donald Barr, you will hear, is actually William Barr's dad. You may have heard William Barr, because William Barr right now is actually basically the United States Attorney. He's obviously in the news right now. So there's that connection. Right? So there's Donald Barr. He's the headmaster of the school. And again, they're saying that somehow they don't want to say that that he may have helped, but they didn't want to say that he hired him directly, because what happened next is, basically that interesting.
3 months after Donald Barr, or before that, interesting fact, what you basically just pointed out. But 3 months after Donald Barr left, Epstein started to work there despite the lack of credentials, like he was stating. And then from there, Epstein was showing inappropriate behavior towards underage students. So I feel like that's when...
It was already showing there. Like, so it's like, you're dealing with junior high kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, what we know now is the age where he was really interested.
Exactly. Junior high.
So this is happening back in 1974.
Yeah.
So like, how much pull? So the Donald Barr, he left. So he left in 1974. So 3 months after he had left the school, Epstein got hired there. So, and again, he had no credentials, or lack of credentials, because he literally just came from a university. Like, how do you go from a student and all of a sudden you're actually teaching? I mean, other than like being an aide, of course. But I mean, like, it's just interesting. Try to make that connection. And so, yeah.
And then from there, he was actually released for patient support performance.
For performance, yeah, exactly. It's just one of those things that they want to like sweep, because somehow when I'm reading up on this guy, somehow this guy is, for me, I see him as the master of manipulation. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because someone that came from where he came from, not to say like no one can come, but then just it's how they go about it, right?
Yeah.
How anyone comes up and they work hard and stuff like that. And the thing is, not that he's not working hard, he's just working hard in the bad way.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
If you could imagine, if you put that energy in something positive and good, what he is capable of doing,
exactly,
in changing the world versus changing the world in this kind of way.
Yeah.
So, I know I'm going off of like that, but look at here. He's already, I feel like this is where the first time where they started brushing things under the
Yeah,
rug.
exactly, yeah.
So, for me, if he's showing an inappropriate behavior towards students, that would be hands down done. No ifs, ands, or but. That's why you're getting terminated. But they want to go back and say, oh no, he's getting terminated because of poor performance.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think right then and there is where he realized what he's able to get away with.
Exactly.
So.
And then from there, Epstein became acquainted with Alan Greenberg, who was a chief executive officer of Stearns. Stearns was an NY-based global investment bank. Epstein had somehow got another student parent to advocate for him, Greenberg. And then from there, once Epstein was dismissed, Greenberg offered him a job at Bear Stearns, which is basically how he started his he got his foot in the door with finances and stuff.
Because so you went to school for I get it. You went to school for mathematics and science, right?
Yeah.
Got it. So that's where we're at. So, but he didn't get a degree in it.
Exactly.
Then he goes to become a teacher with no credentials, but he's teaching students, and then shows inappropriate, and then he's getting dismissed. But before he gets dismissed, he somehow he tells another student parent, because this school is really prestigious. They have really rich parents, and these kids are with prominent people, right?
Yeah.
So he knows that.
So
somehow he was able to convince another parent, to put a good word, because I feel like he's and the thing is, like, they're manipulative, but they're very strategic.
Yeah.
Strategic. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Strategic.
Very strategic. You know what I'm saying. Because you can tell, like, he's like, you see the calculation, and I was like, dude, like, that's, on one hand, it's like, dude, like, that's pretty well that shady as fuck. But like, it's all trying survival. Like, so he's already like, exactly. He's like, all right, cool. I'm about to let me get it in so I can get into this next company. And so going into Bear Stearns. So he was there. So he's got that job teacher since 1974. So by 1976, so he was only there for a couple of years at the school. So from 1976 to 1980, he was at Stearns, so this finance company, this banking finances international global thing, company. Eventually, they end up going down anyways. But he was asked to leave because he violated a violation. Like I saw the violation, and of course it's just jumbo, like finance. It just went over my head. Like, I have an idea what it was, but the bottom line is he violated, because he violated the whatever, basically broke a rule of trading, and so they had to let him go.
Yeah.
And so, which is it? So from there, so this is how.
Yeah.
So he goes from there. So he's only there for about 4 years.
Yeah.
But then he's already has his next step.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is he starts up his own company.
Yeah, exactly.
Founded, which is called Intercontinental Assets Group, basically IAG. So this is from the time frame is, so now it's like, so 1980 he left that company. So he founded this one in 1981 to 1987. So he's been here for a little. So basically, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So this is his company, and the whole thing about their company is according to him, they're recovering money from like fraudulent brokers for people. So basically, like brokers and lawyers. And so say like rich people are like they're losing money because of whatever deals or whatever or something. And so he's somehow he's going and he's recovering this damn money.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the thing about this guy, I feel like right now he's really cocky.
Yeah.
Because he told friends that he worked sometimes as a consultant with for government, and they're very healthy to recover embezzled funds.
Exactly. Yeah.
But at the same time, he was working for clients that were embezzling money. Dude, no chill, right?
Yeah.
So at the same time, you're over here like, yeah, I'm doing good work because I'm recovering money from people, the money that was being embezzled by these people.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, he has a whole bunch of clientele that are actually embezzling money.
Yeah.
That's one fucking crazy great idea, but two, it's like, whoa, like how? Like how
exactly.
are you like? But then you have to be a master manipulator. This is people's money, and he's not messing with just common folks. He's like day-to-day working class people. He's dealing with people, obviously government, wealthy people, right?
Yeah.
So during this time, so during 1981 and 1987, this one also there was a statement that some of you say he worked for, and this is where I was like very interested because I've heard this a couple times, is where they stated that he also worked as an intelligence agent, right?
Intelligent agent. Huh,
And-
I never heard that. That's this.
Oh no,
first time I hear
yeah,
that.
they say that he worked as for the CIA, and it will come up again later on and it also was said by the attorney later on that represented him in his first case.
Yeah.
So because remember when they, and now we're gonna kind of jump forward just a little bit, because remember when they raided his place, they found a passport. So this is where he possessed an Australian passport with his photo, but the name, obviously the name and the residence, the name was false, but the residence said he was in Saudi Arabia. Do you remember, like they said it was in a safe?
Yeah.
And then so going back, so this is where that time frame. So that's where that passport came from, was during this time frame. So he had an Australian passport with the photo, with his photo, the false name, and the residence in Saudi Arabia. Like why?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Dude, you're from Seagate, fucking Brooklyn. But why do you have? So it almost kind of makes it feel like, okay, there could be a chance he could be pretending he's working for CIA. He's just really good at manipulating, right? And matter of fact, he probably should have worked for the CIA if he didn't, because motherfucker was good apparently, you know. So, so Vicky Ward, she was like this investigative journalist that also stated, what I had just said, that she was told by Alex Costa, who is the former White House official under Trump.
I'm gonna say that,
So he's no longer under Trump, but he was working for him for a couple of years in his administration. Yeah. But he's the one also back, which we're gonna bring up the case later on.
Yeah.
That represented or played a part in his first case and to get him the sweetheart deal, right? So this guy, Alex Acosta, was told that Epstein belonged to the intelligence and to leave it alone, and that Epstein is above his pay grade. What?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So like, sit on that for a little bit. So now you have like, so this is a journalist. She's Vicky Ward. I was reading up on her a little bit. So, and I think at the time she was on CNN.
Yeah.
But she worked everywhere else. But stated yes. This is coming from Alex Acosta. Like he's this guy. Like why would he throw something like that?
Yeah.
It was either it is true or he's just trying to throw everyone off.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, it's sketchy.
Yeah.
So Epstein had met Stephen Huffenberg when he was traveling to London. So I'm bringing up Stephen Huffenberg because this is also his next dude, like this guy is fucking crazy. Like he's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm moving this. I'm moving that because he's like basically creating his own opportunity. His next he's like the master opportunist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, Huffenberg was the former chief executive officer for the chairman of the Towers Financial Corp. So basically, that's his next. This resume is fucking crazy. We're not even gonna say. We're only bringing up just just so you can get an idea. But I left out like half of his resume because he's like.
Because even like one more like the notable names that he worked with was I think Leslie Wexner.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it was which we're gonna
talk about later a little bit further down the line.
It was that relationship was questionable.
Yeah,
because that's where they were when he was being interrogated on one of the videos. Like the attorney was freaking beast. And was just like hitting him with the hard questions.
Yeah,
and Epstein was like annoyed as fuck. And basically was like questioning his sexuality. Like, are you bisexual? Because when you look at that story, when we get there, you're gonna be like, why would someone get that much power with my I would never. No one in my family would have that much power of attorney to handle all that money if I had all that money. You know, I mean, let me take that back. I mean, I'm just saying, like. I don't know, did this guy have everybody other than Epstein to trust with all that money? Because eventually you'll find out, like, he fucked him over. So, when we get there. So, the next, so he ends up, so there you go. So, he meets this executive exec, the president, chairman for Tower Financial. So, this is his next, I guess, job now.
Exactly. So, he starts working for Towers Financial Corporation from 1987 to 1989. Left before it collapsed because it was a Ponzi scheme. Like I'm telling you, he just keeps getting like caught up in these sketchy scandals.
He's like, ooh, money, got it. I'm there. I'll help you out.
And then wasn't charged for being involved in any of the massive investment fraud committed. So he got out right before he got.
He was not charged with any of that.
Yeah, which is pretty insane. But anyways, to go on, financial management firm, founded his own management firm.
Jefferey,
J. Epstein and Company, and supposedly managed the assets of clients with more than $1 billion US. And basically, the only known billionaire was Leslie Wexner, which we were just talking about right now, who is the CEO of L Brands, and one of them is Victoria's Secret. Exactly, and apparently sorted out Wexner's entangled finances. In July, Wexner granted Epstein full power of attorney. So
this is where this is the ratio. I already did a few bulletins because I was like, we're gonna go off a little bit on we're gonna hit those bullet points because that's crazy, but also just talk about that relationship because you're talking about this. So first of all, he started a firm saying that he only has billionaire. This is where I feel like again he's getting cocky. He's telling his friends like, dude, I only work for billionaires. I sort out billionaires' money, do whatever, right? And then, but really, people are saying but the only billionaire that he was working with, because they said that didn't stop him from helping other people that didn't have a billion money. But it just so happened that, according to what everyone is seeing, is that the only one billionaire he had as a client was Alex Wexner. And to be honest, from what we see and what we read, that he probably that's all he needed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this Alex Wexner, trusted him so much because he was able to sort out his finances, which I get. You got my back. I mean, this is where I feel like the manipulation comes through. He comes off very I'm here for you.
Charismatic,
and then all of a sudden you see the return from all that. I mean, so I'm trying to think of it as, I think I would love to be a billionaire, of course, but who knows? We'll see one day, right? But I mean, so trying to tap into, I guess even just us, trying to think of, just another transaction or a relationship, a professional relationship of that. So if someone has a job that they do very well as far as finances, and I don't, and I have all this stuff that needs to be sorted out, of course it's hey, come in. And you do it, he does it real, so it's slowly but surely he's trusting him, right?
Exactly.
You're trusting them, and then next thing you know, this part is where it's crazy, and then next thing you know, he's literally signing off power of attorney, where Epstein could go do anything with the company. He could borrow money, he could buy, he could hire, he could fire, he could run everything.
Yeah, exactly.
He could run everything because he gave him full power of attorney.
Yeah.
So Epstein was like, I'm good. Dude, if that was my sugar daddy. Yo, I mean, look.
To me, it's just crazy that
It's
he gave him that much
full-
power. I'm like,
Full
dang.
power of attorney.
Like, this
Full-
guy had him on his palm.
On his palm of his hands, and this is why in some, if you ever watch any of the delegations of him being recorded and asked questions by this attorney in New York, it's hella funny because you see how pissed off Epstein is because the guy is literally asking, hey, how's your relationship with Alex Wexner, right? Wexner, and he's like, what about, like, it's professional? He's like, well, it's been known that I was told that you're bisexual, and the reason why he's asking these questions is because he wants to get in his head, and but you could totally tell. So he's just so pissed off, but this attorney is like, that's whatever the attorney told, but you could see how pissed off he wants to say. But I mean, like, how, like, what did you do? How did you do? Yes, you helped him with the finances, but damn, like what did it take for you to get the full power?
Exactly.
So this is showing you how powerful this guy ended up being.
Exactly.
And then at the end, obviously, come to find out, he ends up stealing like millions of money from him, and then that relationship obviously
tarnished the relationship.
Obviously, that goes. But then the guy Wexner didn't even, like, it was almost like, I'll just take you for the team. Like, I don't think there was anything else that happened after, like, going after him or anything, because obviously he kept continuing to do what continue to do what he do.
And I feel like at that point, like, when you're a billionaire like Wexner, like $1 million isn't really that much for you to, like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna kill your ass. Won't you steal from me? I'm taking your legs. I'm taking your arms. Sorry.
He's telling y'all, so don't steal from him. Just steal $1 from him. He'll do that to you.
Dollars a dollar. Anyway, but I mean, this is the wrapping our minds around this man. Like, we don't know this man, but I mean, just off paper and just everything, it's like, dude, this guy is freaking crazy. So
now we're gonna go to his better half, or his partner in crime. We're about to go in.
Yeah, they're full crime. Yeah,
full crime.
She's a whole crime in herself. So.
We're gonna now move on to Ghislaine Maxwell and, like, her upbringing. She was born in 1961 in France. So she was the youngest of 9 kids. She's, big family. Her mother Elizabeth, a French scholar, and her father Robert Maxwell, a media mogul. So she comes from wealth right off the bat.
Yeah.
So right out the gate.
So totally different from.
So exactly. So I just want to paint this picture for you guys. So you have, what's the name? Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
He's a charismatic one, the master manipulator here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He knows how to play the board. He knows how to play his hand. And then when he met Ghislaine Maxwell, it's like done deal.
Dude.
Because she had the connections that he needed.
Yes. Like he had his whole connection, but then I think he only had connection in that area where
exactly.
Obviously, look, in finances, right?
Exactly.
In mathematics, in stuff like that, in banking.
Yeah.
But she comes with her connections with more of, like, the Donald Trumps, because they had, like, she was with one of, like, some prince or something. She knows royalty, and then
like
also,
Prince Harry.
Yes.
No, is it Prince Harry? Or
no,
Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew.
That's where the connection comes
Yeah.
with them. But so she comes more. She's a socialite.
Exactly.
So she knows people in that circle versus.
Exactly.
And then he has people with finances. So when you combine, like, that's like that whole Bonnie and Clyde type stuff, like.
It is. So and then like I said, she grew up in a 53-room mansion. So that just says everything right there and then.
Like, grew up.
Like what? 53? That's like a hotel, bro.
Dude, it's a hotel. No,
yeah.
This is, when I was reading up on it, that they also, they lived in a 353, and then the two, because her dad is a media mogul out there, so he obviously started owning different media companies out in the UK.
Yeah.
And so the mansion is so big, 53 rooms, that 2 of his companies that he ran, offices were in the mansion. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
So it's like, I mean, well, duh, like, how 53 rooms, like, why? But that's where she came from.
Exactly.
So I mean, like, that's just a whole other world that we don't even know.
Exactly.
And that's what she's used to. Like, to her, that's a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just live in a 53 mansion house, whatever.
Okay, now we're gonna just jump right into her resume. You want to touch base on that?
Yeah. So again, she's more like a socialite. So she was like a member of like the London social scene in the 80s. She founded like a women's club called it's like another I guess a Kit Kat club. It's basically, I guess it was like an older version of it. So she's kind of like started like her own little reboot of it. Either way, it's like a women's club.
Yeah.
She was the director of the football club during her father's ownership. So of course, like the father owns a whole bunch of businesses. So she basically worked for her dad in whatever media business. So yes, there was 9 kids, but it was rumored that, or according to everybody else, which I think I put in here, that she was like her dad's favorite.
Yeah, he did mention that. Yeah,
like, and so which is why like she, business-wise, she was always with them. From what I understand, like she was with him when, I think when there was this first computer that they like prototype that came out, and she learned it as a teenager. So I mean, like there's like interesting like stuff that she knew. So she basically was learning how to use like the first ever kind of computer prototype, and then she was actually going and teaching people from the dad's companies how to use like the computer, right?
Yeah.
So she's so then she's picking up that, like I think that's like, on one hand I think that's awesome, but as you can see, like her dad's not really like the best person.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she basically was her dad's right hand woman, but her father had passed away, and it's just suspicious around it because it's very very suspicious.
Yeah.
I think this is all suspicious.
Yeah.
When anybody dies in anything like this, it's always like scratching your head. So apparently, what she feels, he supposedly drowned off of, like, he had a yacht.
Yeah.
They call it that's named after her. It's a beautiful yacht from what they were describing. So the father's death was suspicious, but it was ruled that it was a heart attack combined with drowning, and obviously Maxwell, she believes he was murdered.
They were like poisoned.
Well, So what, I guess from the story, from what I was reading, because I had to like, I know that's what I was reading, but I was like, what happened? So apparently that morning or sometime that week he had an argument with one of his older sons, because they also were help running some of his businesses. Mm-hmm. So he goes up on the yacht, and I guess he gets up to go. I guess he goes and takes a leak out in the ocean. I would do the same thing, naked. Like he'll just get up, go naked, and piss in the ocean. I would too, if I had a freaking yacht,
Oh, no.
And I guess apparently during that time he goes out there, he has a heart attack and falls in as he's peeing, and then they find his naked body, eventually floating in the ocean. And so, like, all right, like it doesn't. It's suspicious for sure. Like I see why, why she thinks it's so suspicious. But I think anything that has to do with people like them, anything happens, it's really suspicious. But they just took it off like as it was like it was a drowning. Yeah. And so anyway, so after her death, this is when they start finding all the fraudulent stuff. So I think the big thing that what happened, why is he believed he had took after fraudulent he appropriated the pensions and assets of one of his the Mirror Group newspaper, so one of his media companies, and basically there was like all these pensions that was missing.
Yeah. Damn.
Of like 3,200 employees just missing. Where'd that money at? So. Yeah. And basically, so it was basically 400 million pounds, and that's equivalent to $600 million.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Just missing. And so that's when she moved in 1991, that's when her and her mom decided to move to the States. Yeah. And then she was able to get like an annual income of basically 80,000 pounds, which is basically I rounded up like 105,000 a year, just from an annual income 105, and that's like what in the early 90s. Like, so you should just have already a 6-figure annual income, just for.
That's quite a bit of money
for that time.
For that time.
I mean, like people right now people are trying to make a 6-figure income. People combine their income to try to make a 6-figure income, and this bitch comes to the States already making.
Because even right now, like a six-figure income, you're like. I think you're considered middle class because you're not even
yes.
nowadays.
And you have to combine, and even that, like it has like, because when you combine the two incomes and it comes to like a 6-figure, it's still middle class.
Still middle class.
And you're still struggling.
You're still struggling, especially here in California.
So
yeah,
but this just comes to the States. She already has somehow, because of the death, she has a annual income through her dad's death.
Yeah.
Basically 105 income. So she became, and then again, she quickly became a New York socialite and was included in groups. Oh yeah, just like Ivana Trump, who was actually Trump's first wife. So she started obviously doing what she did back in the UK to back here in the States.
Right. So now we're gonna go to how they finally met. How they met. So according to Epstein's former partner.
Yeah.
Stephen Hoffenberg.
Who's the one from the Towers? I think from the Towers Financial Group.
Yeah.
So that's the connection.
So Robert Maxwell introduced his daughter, so that's the dad, right?
Yeah, the dad.
Introduced his daughter to Epstein in the late 80s after her breakup with a man, part of the Sigga hotel brand.
They buy like that. Yeah, he's like, exactly. Almost like a Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
The Hiltons, he was like the son of that brand, that hotel brand out there, whatever they are.
So then from there, they were like romantically involved for several years in the early 90s, but then remained associated with him for decades after and remained unclear. So
yeah, so they were eventually they started romantically, right?
Yeah.
Epstein and Maxwell, and then somewhere, obviously the type of man he is, and I would love to hear that kind of conversation. Like how does that relationship transform to we're romantically to where we're just business, like it's more like a business relationship, or like maybe friends with benefits, or like a girl, like it's like almost like an open relationship, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of a thing. I think, well, obviously, later down the line we hear this.
Because I feel like after, if you know like everything that happened between them after, I think it got to the point where they knew too much about each other, had so much dirt on each other, where like
they're like, let's combine together, let's do it to everybody else.
Yeah, it's like, because you think about it, like,
you're right. I'm thinking about it.
It's like we know too much. If I was like in their shoes, it's like I know too much dirt on you. If I were to break up with you, that shit would come all to air. Right. So and then plus, I feel like they, for what in their eyes, I feel like they made such a good team for what they wanted to accomplish.
Yes. So that's how good exactly.
So I feel like they stayed together because of that.
And they were like, let's expose everybody else for our benefit versus
exposing
each other. Mm-hmm. Let's get people.
Manipulate people, have shit on people, have dirt on people, so then we can use it to our benefit. Which I feel like that's what eventually happened. But according to the victims, Epstein's victims, referred to her as the main girlfriend and the lady of the house.
Yeah, sounds basically like.
And to be honest, I feel like maybe in like this whole thing that he had going, she was an integral part of like this whole thing.
She held it together. Yeah,
she held it together.
Because she's a woman. Like
she's a woman, and I feel like for him to manipulate these girls, he needs her. He needs her. That was like a very key.
If you watch the documentary, you don't go more deeply as far as like why these women were so comfortable with her, because obviously she's a woman. But yeah, I totally agree. Like, of course, like he wouldn't be able to go this far like he did, even though he already done what he done.
Yeah.
But to get to this other level of what they've done, he needed her.
Yeah.
And she needed him. But
exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly. He definitely is. So, she hired, fired, and supervised his staff around the 1990s.
She was literally the queen bitch. Like she was the queen bitch. Like, dude. I mean, imagine like, okay, to have someone that's ride or die, but like to have someone that's again, it goes back into if they have put all that energy into like
something positive.
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
they could be freaking running the world in a positive way.
Yeah, they could.
So just imagine, that's so crazy to me. But
yeah, so then it was reported that both combined had friendships with several elite circles in politics, academia, business, law. People, I'm sure you've seen pictures with them.
Yeah.
With these people, such as President Trump, Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz, and Prince Andrew, which I know is a huge one, especially.
Yeah, right now. He's hiding. He's bobbing and weaving. I don't know those two.
I'm always dodging right now. But an interesting fact is Maxwell is a trained pilot. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And would transport Epstein to his private Caribbean island.
The famous island.
That's where everything happened.
Yeah.
All the shit you don't want to see and don't want to be involved in. But anyways, in 2008, when Epstein was convicted of soliciting a minor for prostitution, and served 13 months out of an 18-month sentence. After his release, Maxwell was still showing up at events, but they were rarely seen with each other. Eventually, in 2015, she retreated from any social event functions. I wonder why that happened.
Yeah, I know. When I read that, I was interesting. So I guess they were, once he got that conviction, I guess, obviously, I think they felt like, obviously, look what's happening now. Because they're coming for her, too.
Yeah.
Now that he's dead. So I think she was trying, obviously, then she was on a run, right? Recently?
Yeah.
She's been on a run. And they literally just caught her, like, a month ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, literally recently.
Yeah.
And she was, like, hiding in the freaking woods somewhere. And so I see, like, she was probably seeing, like, oh, shit. Like, okay, you actually finally got convicted.
Yeah.
And obviously she's tied to all these victims. Because they're all coming for her.
Yeah.
Now that he's gone, they're like, well, Epstein's gone. We're coming for you now. And so I could see why she was trying to. She probably foreseen that.
Yeah.
And it's obviously she did because she was in hiding. But I could see probably why she started, and then started to like not go to social because obviously, how can anyone? First, I don't think anyone wants to be associated with them. Obviously, seeing the pictures after what happened, like after Epstein got convicted, and then she's like, victims are coming together. So I feel like if you go into a social setting, like if I was her. And I was doing some shit like that, and like my guy is like literally in jail and then comes out, and then I'm going to social events.
Yeah.
Like how awkward is that,
That's
right?
awkward, yeah.
Like, and then I feel like if I go to these events and the people that I'm normally cool with, and they know like there's shit hanging over my head.
Yeah.
I don't know if they want to be like have pictures with me.
Yeah.
Or even be around me or be associated with me because I'm associated with freaking a sex ring. You know.
Because I remember too. I was reading up on this when he was convicted and he was thrown in prison and shit, they would interview like President Trump and stuff like that, and people in that circle, and they ask him. I think even Bill Clinton too. Yeah. They ask him, well, like we seen you hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. We know that you were at one point you were cool friends. You were cool with him. And they're like, nah. They're like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So then you see her, like, then you're like, oh, she's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Trying to disassociate with him.
Because she's like, oh, dang, so he's caught
Everyone
already.
Is like denying
Which, in a way, she's kind of smart for doing that. Because if I was put in her position, I'd probably do the same thing.
She was smart, but it was too late.
Like, get out of the limelight because...
It's about to. You're about to.
It's about to crack. She's about to get down. Yeah.
And I feel like, but to me, it's like it's too late. You're like involved.
Yeah, she was way in too deep at this point in all the allegations, not even all the fucking all the crime that was happening.
Yeah, it's like a web. It's literally a web. The next part is very interesting, and I want to get into this. Yeah, this is where I feel like it reminded me so much of R. Kelly's case.
Yeah.
The whole video recording. So. This piece I wanted to add it in there because it did remind me because then you see like these type of predators, they have this thing about recording, and they have this thing about, again, R. Kelly was doing recordings because one for personal reasons but also for blackmail. And this is another way of manipulating people and to do stuff, right? So they Epstein installed concealed cameras in numerous places in all his properties. So, allegedly to record sexual acts with underage girls by prominent people for criminal purpose and blackmail. So, so they had that. So, according to a close friend of Maxwell, this close friend stated that Maxwell told her, this friend, that Epstein's private island in the Virgin Islands was like completely wired for video. Which, on one hand, I'm like, well, duh. If I had an island, I want to, but it would be, if I did that, it would be, duh. Of course, I want recordings to watch things and stuff like that. But this is Epstein we're talking about, right? And so was completely right for it that this friend believed that they were videotaping everyone on the island as an insurance policy. Duh, right? So when so when the Palm Beach residence was raided in 2016, they had found 2 pinhole cameras. Also it also stated in the New York, so that was in the Palm Beach mansion, and then in the New York mansion it was wired extensively with video surveillance as well. So these pinhole, I don't know if you guys know what those are, but these pinhole cameras are basically, so it's like an old school camera, so they have it doesn't have a lens, so it's basically like, you know, when you take the lens off your camera, and you have so basically it's a pin, so it's like a pinhole, and so the camera my hand's the camera, so you put it here, and the lens, what it does is, it's one of those things you see on TV, so it comes and then it shows upside down on the screen, and so it's so tiny, but it basically reflects the whole whatever's going on. So that's what a pinhole camera. So that was in some of the property, and they found that. That's also interesting. So according to Maria Farmer, so Maria Farmer is one of the victims of Epstein. She was the artist. I remember seeing her.
Yeah, she's the one that does all the paintings. Yes, if you guys watch the documentary, you'll find out about her.
She was in there. Yeah. So she's in that documentary, but she stated that the art, basically she worked for him in 1996, and she was the first victim that did do a complaint to the New York, to NYPD, but also to the FBI, and they didn't do anything. Right. So anyways, she stated that Epstein showed her a media room in the New York mansion, where they were individually monitored the pinhole cameras throughout the house. So the media room can only be accessed through a hidden door. So basically, like, freaking obviously, right? And she basically described the room where there were men monitoring the cameras, and on the screen, on the monitor, she saw like toilets and beds and everything. And she stated that it was obvious that they were monitoring private moments, right? Yeah. So again, I'm not surprised. So it's like if you go against even what R. Kelly's going through right now.
Exactly.
So they have, I mean, it all started off with a videotape, and then all of a sudden there's videotapes. Yeah. So like, it's so interesting. Like they hold them for whatever personal use, but also for blackmail. But then also it's their downfall as well. Exactly. It's like, motherfucker, you're crazy.
Because now your evidence is your blackmail's using it against you.
It's against you. Because again, you're dealing with underage girls.
Exactly.
So again, talking about underage girls. So again, Epstein allegedly, at the time, allegedly lent girls to powerful men so he can get in their good grace, and then get in their good grace, put it to gain possible blackmail info. So basically, so like, again, like whoever he's trying to befriend and be like, hey, I could hook you up, I get you like a young girl, and then he'd be like, they were like, what? So then he would make it happen, but then at the same time record them to get
like tip for tat.
To use it, exactly, like to use them for
so it's almost like signing a deal with the devil,
literally. Like, but they don't know that they're getting recorded.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't know what they're getting recorded.
They're not sure. So according to the Department of Justice, Epstein kept a compact disc locked in a safe in his New York mansion. They were described a young person's name plus another name. So this motherfucker was literally like even like on top of like labeling shit. Yeah. So basically, what I'm thinking is that basically it's the name of the young girl, and then whoever is with the young girl. So young girl plus so and so.
So this fool literally had a sex ring going on.
Yeah, sex ring and recording.
So basically child sex ring.
Yeah, basically.
Exactly.
When you say lent girls, and then when you're like recording them, and then you're using them, and then obviously probably, and these girls and all these victims said it's been more than one time. I don't think I think the ones in the I think when we'll get there when he his first case, there was a lot of girls that was just one time, but there was a lot of them that was like something that was like repeated it after
Exactly.
over and
Yeah.
over and over.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is Epstein partially confirmed this about the whole recording thing. He partially confirmed this with when he told a New York Times reporter, of course off the record, so funny, off the record, that Epstein had blackmail material, that he had dirt on powerful people, including their sexual tendencies and recreational drug use.
Wow.
So like, again, these people, as far as these people meaning Epstein and Maxwell, like they knew what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, they knew for sure.
They used, you know, it reminds me of, again, I think I use this analogy, like that movie. I don't know if you To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
With and there was the last of the trilogy, and she was or whatever. But anyways, it was the last one.
It's not To Kill a Mockingbird. It's
Mockingjay.
Mockingjay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're talking about Hunger Games. To Kill a Mockingbird. I was like, what?
My bad. X that out. You know, I was like, that doesn't sound right. That's actually another movie another book that's actually really good that you should read. But the Hunger Games, right? And there's a scene where like obviously it's part where the winners come together because they got fucked and they have to go into this game, and Finnick, the beautiful, and they're getting ready to go on their little whatever to present themselves, right?
Yeah.
And they have a mini conversation, and he's like eating like sugar cubes, right? And so they're talking, and she's like, oh, what do people have to pay for your time? You know, like, because he was just like, you would have made it great, you know, people would have, you know, whatever, gravitated to you. And she had asked him like, well, yeah, what do people pay for you? He was like, I have not received money in forever to get information. He was like, I never received money. I received secrets. And it's like, he had all this money, but I think what gave him the power was this.
Exactly that manipulation.
And he had it in everybody, which is why like he had everybody in this pocket, or he was in their pocket, or vice versa, because he had to have so much. If he's sitting here partially off the record confirming that he has blackmail material, that he had dirt on powerful people, including their sexual tendencies and drug use, like, dude, that's power right there. That's money to me is nothing. Like, you could destroy me by
exactly
destroy
by that.
Anybody
one piece of information, one video,
and then video would be like, nope. So
and your career.
So I just, that section was interesting to type, because it was just how similar it is to R. Kelly and that whole situation, and like the video tapes and the girl, you know, and just how like what he used them for, and it was just power, and to use them for blackmail, and to, you know, so that's crazy. Yeah.
So you want to go? So we're gonna jump into the next.
Yeah.
The next part we want to get into which is his first criminal case.
I put legal. Literally is legal. Like, we only, again, like I think we said before, like we're only bringing up the first one and then the last one, because to be honest,
way too much. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's like a shopping list, like, of stuff, and you read your research, you'll see everybody, because it's almost every single victim. And I'm sure they haven't got all the victims, and it's all the lawsuits, they're trying to get back for it. And so, but yeah, these two we wanted to bring up because they were important, because it was it was really the first time he got caught and got convicted, and then the second time, obviously, you know, his outcome. Yeah. So
I'll go ahead and talk about the first time he got caught. So in March 2005, a woman contacted Palm Beach PD regarding her 14-year-old daughter that was taken to Epstein's mansion by an older girl.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, she was paid $300 to strip and massage for Epstein. Palm Beach then began a 13-month investigation. Chief on the case felt that the Palm Beach State prosecutor was being too lenient to call the FBI for help. FBI eventually stepped in, became involved when Epstein paid several girls to perform, you know, sexual acts with him, etc., etc. I feel like if you want a little bit more information regarding
Yes.
this, the documentary does a good job in going and discussing the cases with the victims.
Yeah, and how that went about.
How that went about. So if you want a little bit more light on that, I feel like watch the documentary on Netflix, that one, and also the documentary. There was one on Hulu too.
Yeah.
That one's pretty good. Those really go, I think they really, flesh out and they really tell the testimonies of
the girls.
Of the girls and the victims.
It's really intense. Like, that part, writing that part, it gets really intense because it's girls after girls after girls, and these are girls literally like 14, 15, 12.
Exactly.
So it's crazy. So I agree. Look at those, do your research, because I just didn't want to.
They're even saying that the chief was probably even in his pocket.
Yes,
because he was way too lenient. Like, why did it take so long for you to finally?
Not the chief, the state prosecutor.
The state prosecutor.
Yeah.
Which
the chief was the one.
He eventually stepped down, right? Or did he get fired?
Yes. No, he stepped down because
because
that chief was like, "Yo, what's up? Because you're not. I'm giving you all this, and you're like, this is not enough." The state prosecutor, the chief in the documentary was like, "Dude, it was like, dude, I'm like handling him all this evidence, and the state prosecutor is still telling me it's not enough." And obviously, come on, like, we're not dumb people. Like, use your common sense. Like, if the state prosecutor is like, I'm literally throwing shit like on you and to like get him, and he's like, that's not enough shit. You know what I mean? And you're like, motherfucker, like, I'm literally fucking taking a crap on your shit.
Yeah,
and you're
exactly,
literally like, this is not enough. And so makes you think who was like
was he
Epstein? He was either Epstein again. Epstein either is probably not even paying him. He may have something on him too.
Exactly.
Eventually when all these videos tape comes out, which means like not to watch
it.
If they
ever do.
If they do, it's gonna probably be years later. But if they do, not to watch him, but to see who, like, the person, not but as far as like who was in one of those videos.
Exactly.
Like, dude, I just can't wait till that day. I hope so.
That comes to light. Yeah.
But yeah, you want to talk about that?
All right. So now we're gonna talk about the non-prosecuting agreement in 2002, 2008, between 2002 and 2008. Alexander Acosta worked with Alan Dershowitz. So I believe Alan Dershowitz is his lawyer.
Yeah, they helped. Right? And even and at the time, Alexander Acosta was like the Palm Beach also like lawyer. They're both lawyers.
Yeah.
But Alexander Acosta is the same guy that again used to work for Trump under his.
Exactly. Yeah. So you mentioned
all those just kind of tying it all
together and see how everyone's kind of linked in the circle.
Yeah.
So they worked on a deal that was eventually called the Sweetheart Deal. So Epstein pled guilty to 2 felony prostitution charges, registered as a sex offender, and paid restitution to 3 dozen victims identified by the name.
It was literally
3 dozen. That's a lot,
dude. That's a lot, and that's not even all of them.
That's not even all of them.
These are only the ones that the FBI mentioned.
So I kind of want to get into the Sweetheart Deal real quick, and that's where we're gonna talk about the conviction on the next point right here. So he was sentenced to 18 months in prison. Instead, he was housed in a private wing after 3.5 months, and then he was allowed to leave the jail on a work release for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Dude, are you in jail, really?
Yeah, that ain't jail to me. That's like that's like almost like detention. For real, like detention, bro. Like, for real. Like, you can leave when you want. Like, I gotta go do work.
And then you don't even know the stuff that. And there's also more stuff, like when he was on work leave on those hours, he could do anything because according to the guards that were supposedly be watching him, they were doing other stuff. He wasn't in his office the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then even if he was in the office, you don't know what he was actually doing in the office.
So he just basically went to jail to go sleep, and then he'd wake up and
work back at jail again, and then maybe just chilled. Yeah.
So that,
dude, like,
he got let go real easy.
And the charges, like, again, they were like the prostitution charges. These are just so basically it's making it seem as if he went to go get prostitutes. Yeah. So basically, he was calling which in what I see as far as the victims, like fuck
That's
you, I'm
not doing
I'm
him
a fucking
justice.
prostitute.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a fucking prostitute. So basically, that's why it's like they literally just brought it down to like, oh, he got in trouble because I brought prostitutes to my house. No, that's not what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
But again, that's how they watered that shit down.
They did.
And that's Alexander Acosta and Alan Dershowitz. That's their doing.
Exactly.
Why? But there you go. Like, you just have to think about that.
Truth
like,
is in the pudding.
Yeah. So, think about that. However you feel about them, and however you feel about them working for Trump, and whatever. But like, these are the kind of lawyers. Even Alan Durix, he was like a scholar, like a law scholar. Like he taught, and so like you would, I don't know, like I'm like, if you're that person, like you're the person that everyone goes to, which is why I feel like they brought him on the team to help out with this. It's like, damn, like everyone's fucked up.
So even I want to point this out too. So Alan Dershowitz is basically Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer.
Yeah.
The one defending him.
Yeah.
So at that point, one of the girls, one of the victims, said that she was underage at the time that she would do things with Alan Dershowitz. So he was even involved in it. Allegedly, supposedly, that's
everything's allegedly.
Everything's allegedly.
But you have to understand, like, if they're breaking their backs to do this for Epstein, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had something on me like that, of course I'm like, bro, what do you want me to do? I'm gonna jump through hoops. I'm gonna find all the loopholes and all this because I don't want to be exposed.
So, why I bring that up is because if you watch the documentary on Netflix, he actually denies all accusations on there. But then now that Ghislaine Maxwell is in the picture, and now the FBI has reopened a lot of documents that were closed before. They're saying that there's evidence in there in this footage that may what's it called? That may
I know what
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's a term. There's a term. That may basically make Mr. Alan Dershowitz guilty.
Of the
crimes
and
that were committed by him.
And the thing is, the reason why you guys are probably not hearing that those documents are being released is because we're being distracted with everything else that's
coronavirus
going on. Exactly. So make sure you guys do those. They did release them, or expose them. So like, go in there and read them.
Exactly. Yeah. So you want to end it?
Yeah,
we're pretty much more.
Right? So then I guess again. Oh yeah, so he was released. He ended up being released after serving 13 months. With a year of probation on house arrest until August 2010. So like, again, even that was like whatever. Like, slap on the wrist, go home. You're on probation for like. So if that was like, if he was released he was only in probation for a little bit. People, from my understanding, with that kind of stuff, it's like you're on probation for a minute.
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, so now we're gonna talk about like what really like it happened again. So the second criminal charge. Basically was trafficking. This is where he finally was trafficking charges. So on July 8th in 2019, the Southern District of New York, so these people, they're like, whatever happens to Trump, whatever happens to Trump, what happens in this election, if he gets reelected and if he doesn't. What I personally feel is like I think he's more scared of Southern District of New York, because of the investigations that's still going on for him and his basically his life, his company. So these people are like they're down with the shits. Yeah. They're like so I feel like these people are fucking like I'm scared. They're not even coming for me. But anyways, they charged him.
That we don't know.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have lived like 3-4 lives already, so who knows? But anyway, so they charged him with sex trafficking and conspiracy to traffic minors for sex. So they finally got him. Versus like those charges, the first ones were just prostitution. Yeah. But these, and that was just Palm Beach. The first ones. This is New York. Now, from what I understand, the District of New York people, they're like the cream of the crop and the shits, right? Yeah. Obviously. So anyway, so they are now like, nah, you're being charged for literally trafficking and minors and sex and all that stuff. So this Epstein tried to get out on a $100 million bond, but was denied because he was obviously a flight risk. Because this guy could hide, like he was like just like Ghislaine, like they could be out there, but he easily could disappear. You know, if he wanted to.
Which maybe explains why he had a passport.
Yes.
So he could easily just dip as soon as shit hit the fan.
Yes.
Boom,
and
boom, out.
that's the thing too. Is like, damn, like, did he work for his? Like, it's just so weird. Like a passport that had his picture but not his name, but said he's from Saudi Arabia. Like what? So anyway, she got denied. So then, on July 23rd, this is like the first incident that happened while he was locked up, because I think this time I feel like he felt like fuck, like this is not like the first one or the other ones. Like he can't manipulate his way out of this, right? So on July 23rd, 2019. So he was already. So this was literally like. July 8th, and then now on the 23rd, he was found semi-conscious at 1:30 a.m. on the floor of the cell with marks on his neck. His cellmate. So this is interesting about the cellmate, because the cellmate actually used to be an NYPD guy, and he's like this big old and this NYPD he's in there for like 4 counts of murder. So anyway, so he was allegedly they were stating that he tried to hang him, like, so they were trying to see like if this guy did something to him, but then it's alleged that he supposedly tried to hang himself. So I think this is where they started to say like, oh, he's on like suicide alert or whatever. So this is where it's like kind of interesting, like you guys are supposed to be like this kind of like on point fucking jail, right?
Exactly.
Like, and he's on watch. So this is where
this is supposed to be one of the most highly secure security prisons in the country.
Right. And he's the type of person he is, and the profile he has, and if you're telling me that, and then just the amount of stuff that he has, and he's on suicide watch, of course I feel like you need to be on him.
All eyes on him.
If like this is the first time that you is like, okay, there's
every step, bro. Like fucking, you breathe in. I want to know where you're taking your breath, where you're taking shit, everywhere.
Everything. If you wiped, if you didn't wipe, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
And then the day was August 10th, and he was actually finally found dead, and it was by suicide. Supposedly he hung himself.
So there's a lot of suspicion around his death.
Yeah, and I mean, look, and then look, and we're still like, it's a year later. It's literally a year later, bro. August 8th. We're 2020. August 8th.
Yeah,
so he literally killed himself or found dead. Literally on the 10th of last year of August, and we're on August 8th today.
Yeah, it's crazy, a year later. It's freaking insane.
And we're talking about this.
Right now.
And we're gonna probably be talking about for time, because now that we have so a lot has come, like, even from his death.
Yeah, a lot has conspired from that.
And then also now we have Maxwell that's caught. She was literally just caught months ago, and then now we're all just kind of sitting here waiting. And now that they have released just some of the documents implicating a few people that said they didn't know him. They were doing like the Mariah Carey. I don't know him like that. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know her.
Yeah.
And so, guys, like, just like do your research. Like, sit back. It's especially about this subject. Like, I don't want to say it's a conspiracy theory, especially when it has to do with sex trafficking and stuff like that. So I think everyone is a little bit more woke regarding the subject because of everything that's going on, which is good. All right, and Molly wanted to be.
Yeah, Molly's trying to buy Jefferey.
First of all, she's like photogenic. She's like, it's just here in our hiking photos, but like now she always want to be in our video now. So she's a superstar.
But thank you so much for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it. Thought we'd bring you this episode. This is one we've been wanting to do after we did Pizza Gear. We're like, you know what? Let's do Epstein, and then we're going to come back and do another one.
Yeah, we'll do another one. We're going to take a little break, though.
We're going to take a little break. So, so we actually
really dark stuff.
are going to take a little break from recording for I think like 4 weeks. We're gonna take a little break. We might throw in. Within that 4 weeks, we might do a video. Throw in a video.
I'm just thinking a break from doing our conspiracy.
Yeah, so do conspiracies. We're taking a break from that.
Yeah.
But we do have a surprise for you guys, which is gonna take some time to do. I'm not gonna reveal much of the details. I'm just gonna leave you with this. It is gonna be our most ambitious, most creative, most vulnerable video that we've done so far, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be fucking dope. It's gonna be life. It's gonna be life changing for both of us and life altering.
Yeah, regardless of like. I think it's more for us.
Yeah.
To be honest, but then I think we're just letting you guys in on it, like
letting you into our world.
Yeah.
You know,
I totally agree.
So I think it's gonna be fucking amazing. But within that time that we're gonna focus on that, we'll probably release like a little short video. Like I'll try to come on and do little inspirations here and there.
Yeah.
But so we're gonna take some time from actually recording these longer videos.
Yeah.
To focus our energy and attention on bringing you this project that we're so excited, to bring you and present to you. But with that being said, like I said, thank you so much for watching. We're so grateful and we appreciate you all your love and support. And I hope you all have a blessed week. All right, take care. Peace.